Hello and welcome to Voicetv Nigeria. My name is Grant Wonke and I'm your host. You're welcome to the program Chick. Please click on the subscribe and the bell button to notify you of our next episode. The Nordics is a program that brings to the fore or that brings to bear topical issues with balanced views as relates government policies to national progress or national development. I'm not alone on this journey. I'm together with my co-host, Mohammed Jinadu. Um, welcome, Mohammed. We'll do our best to furnish you with facts and also leave you with thought-provoking discourse. And also uh, get educated from your comments. So once again, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. This is going to be like a continuum, Mohammed, from our yesterday's discourse. Security is everybody's business. We know the state of what's happening around in the country. Now, look at, you're going to single out some persons who are responsible for our social and moral upkeep, the politicians, the clergymen, and all. How can we factor these two or three persons or these two or three people together, right, for us to achieve a collective or a holistic society, Mr. Mohammed?
Welcome viewers. The thing is this. Basically, I think we've dwelled much on the government
Okay.
and their failures. We've dwelled more on the securities and the failure it's ongoing. I think what we should, from the intro that you made, I think where we would focus our attention should be the clerics.
Okay.
Back in the days, from what we heard from our grandfathers,
Okay.
there's this much respect. The clerics have so much followership, so much influence, so much authority that they got so involved, even in deep down to the smallest unit of our society, which is the family, that a man and his wife cannot misbehave for fear of the spiritual father. But I think if we cast our mind back, prior to 2015 election, Nigeria became so divided that politics was taken from the street to the house of God, and in my opinion, was a blow for me, because rather than actually allow citizens to make up choices that suit their leaning, they were influenced by what their religious fathers did. And it's no gainsaying that one of the basic problems we have are our religious leaders. We respect them, but yes, they've actually really missed what they were called to do, which is actually first being the mouthpiece of the society and the checkers to all the excesses of all the tiers of government. Because I can tell you for free that if a pastor goes to the National Assembly, they will listen to him more than they listen to the protesters. If an imam screams today, people will listen to them. Or can they actually speak now when they are all, most of them, are in the pockets of the same politician that they should be teaching moral things to? That's just where we are.
Oh, so well said. Now we're going to watch a footage on the just concluded interfaith. Of course, we know we have the two major faiths in Nigeria: the Christian and Islam. We're going to watch the Interfaith Dialogue for Peace (IDFP) held a leadership conference in Abuja. So we're going to see what one of the participants, said during that discourse. So please watch. We'll be right back.
It is, which to me is bigger than COVID-19. COVID-19 has just added to the problem. Now, I have this picture, showing that there is no part of Nigeria today that is peaceful. There is no part of Nigeria today that is peaceful. and people are being slaughtered left and right. What do we expect from our leaders? We expect our leaders to come up with a framework of intervention that will tell us that in no distant time we will get over this problem. But I think Nigerians are getting disappointed on a daily basis that the solutions are not coming. And this leads us to what I will call the current realities. The current realities are that, one, the Nigerian army is involved in internal security in 33 states out of 36. To a professional security analyst is to say the entire country is at war. If you have 36 states and the military is effectively in 33 having operations, is to say Nigeria is in a state of war. And that is why 3 days ago or 4 days ago, I was not surprised that the International Early Warning System says that Nigeria is the third most threatened country in the world. And we came after Afghanistan and all these countries that we thought are very dangerous. Then the police is demoralized and unwilling to return to the streets. In Abuja here, you might not feel the problem, but go to the other parts of the country, you don't see the police. They are demoralized, they are afraid.
Okay, so welcome back. And from the discussant, Mohammed, we just heard when he said we talked about the. Remember that when we started, I said we're not only we're talking about the politicians and everybody who is involved, the security agencies, and also the cleric, which will still watch the video of where I think the clerics have failed Nigerians when it comes to keeping the moral fiber of the society. So, but let's look at the security agency, like he said, where it seems like in every state of the country, out of the whole 36 states, let's say 33 states of the country, has huge security presence. So, are we at war in this part of the world, or don't you think it's time for everybody now to start getting scared because obviously we're not safe anymore in our country?
Like I said, the intro actually is not with this. It's like I said, it's ongoing discussing security problems in Nigeria. I think from the IDFP, what the videos are placing is trying to bring to fore roles that the clerics should have played. Here it is. They are meant to put us through moral phases. They are supposed to keep our religiosity and spirituality in alignment to keeping the society safe. Now, the people that make up the army, the police, the civil defense, and the DSS are either Muslims or Christians. Now, the question is, how do you go to office if you and perform better, be effective, be efficient, if really you don't have the fear of God? Because, look, one of the problems we've had that has crippled our security is actually the lack of moral sense and the decadence, the nepotism that has given rise to probably incompetence, that given rise to man no man, and that given rise to unproductive personnel. Now here it is. These same personnel, really, we know them. And who know them better? The clerics that allegedly actually are sitting in the front rows. Even the politicians that we actually think as individuals, like the society always keeps saying that these people just keep collecting our taxpayers' money and don't perform. These people sit in front row. How many clerics can you boast, can look a politician in the eye and say, man, I don't need your 1 naira, go perform and do the job you're meant to? They are all in the pockets of these politicians, so they've lost it.
Well, having said that, I think we should as well watch the second video, which is going to show from the discussant on about the just concluded symposium held in Abuja. So let's watch. Well, once we're back, we'll talk extensively about it.
We are all a very religious people. I respect my pastor more than my father. We respect our imams more than our fathers because we think they combine several qualities. And therefore, track 7 is very important. And I will give you a very rough example of how track 7 is important. A colleague came in from the US, from California, and he was kidnapped. He was with the kidnappers for several days. And he said on this particular day, the person that ought to have come in the morning to replace the person that was with him at night was late. And then they started quarreling. And then one of the kidnappers said, "Look at you now. You have made me to miss my church service this morning." And he said when they settled their differences, he called the one that was religious and said, "You still go to church?" And he said, "I go to church. I have not, he has denied me the opportunity of taking my Holy Communion this morning." That is a kidnapper. And then, so he asked him, "Now when you go to this church, what do you do?" He said he goes there for 2 things. To ask God to forgive him for the sins of the past, and then to use the opportunity to identify the next target. So what we're trying to say that even criminals are very close to God. This is the truth. This is the truth. Armed robbers go to church, they go to mosque. So criminals. So we are, what I'm trying to say is that we are all very close to you. And if we're close to you, then that means you can change us. I want to put the question to you. Are you really changing us, or you are taking our money? This is the question we need to ask religious leaders. So religious leaders are very, very important. But if religious leaders are not playing their destiny very well, at the end of this meeting, we might agree that we want to change the government. But many of you will lack the moral grounds of approaching anybody with any message of peace. Because the person knows you very well. He knows that, yes, you are a religious leader, but your own religiosity is on how to improve your personal well-being. And then it becomes a problem. Now, we need to ask ourselves, are policymakers ready to work with religious leaders? Are they really ready to work with religious leaders? Because we sent invitation cards to them, we invited them. The question is, how many of them are here today? If they are not here.
All right, so Mohammed, in having listened to what he said, in conclusion, what do you think our religious leaders should do? Because somebody said Nigeria is the religious capital of the world, and that's how we respect our religious leaders. So moving forward, what do you think our religious leaders should know so that to help reduce the rate of violence in the country, and also what's happening around the country?
As interesting to note that we're a religious country, I will tell you for a free and a fact that most of our religious crises stem from the religious homes,
Okay.
and by these religious leaders. Because I was saying before, prior to 2015, in my lifetime, I'd never seen a divided nation religiously like what we saw. Do you know Jonathan and Buhari's first election was actually held in religious homes? The mosques will be saying vote for Buhari, while the church will be saying vote for Jonathan. That isn't the kind of society we should be building. 2, you will find out that, look, rather than speak the truth, we rather pamper the lies. It would be so funny that the protesters shouldn't have jumped to the streets if religious leaders actually spoke up, and if they actually confronted, like, the police, the DSS, the SARS, which is a unit of the police, the army, because they are the mouthpiece. They know us. We live with them. They've been living with us. So it's a difficult thing. They are the only ones that can solve all of this crisis. Look, let me give it to you. If Boko Haram should have been stopped, it should have been the clerics from Borno State and the Muslims at large from that region. But they played with it, and look at where it has got them. Now they can't sleep. Religious leaders are murdered, Christians are murdered because they are playing politics with it. Rather than help the Muslims and say, look, what do we do to stem all of this militia and these riffraffs? But they're saying, no, it is your problem, solve it. It it is not coming to us. And here it is. It is no longer in the northeast. It is now in the northwest. It is now in south. Imagine, look at the IPOB. Somebody somewhere is telling them, look, you're doing well. And here it is. He has become who here is. Not call out name, but we're saying, please, we need your help. Religious leader must do what is right and do that they are ordained to do, which is come to the aid of the people who are mostly your congregants. Without the congregation, you can't be the man in the pulpit. So you can't be a leader in the religious home without the congregation. So if you let them die, you have actually lost your calling. So the thing is, we're saying, please, if that kind of symposium is really listened to, the words are taken home, they will be having sleepless night, and they will be calling all their sons and daughters who represent us politically to say, look, stop all of these things and then come back home and do the right thing. That's just what I feel.
Well said, Mohammed. This is a thought-provoking discourse, and we're not belittling or debasing our religious leaders. We're just saying that they should rise up to their responsibility to keep the moral fiber of our society working. That's the essence of this discourse. So, viewer, thank you very much for your time. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe and bell button to notify you of our next episode. So, from the studio of the Voicetv Nigeria, we say thank you and see you next time.
Yes, thank you.